Okay, we call this continued meeting of the Nelson County Board of Supervisors for June 25th, 2025. First item of business is Resolution R 2025-47, our FY25 budget amendment. Do we have a motion? Do we want some explanation? How would you like to proceed on this?
Mr. Chair, I move we approve the budget amendment as presented. Unless nobody has any questions.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, got a motion and a second. Any discussion? Okay, we'll take a roll vote.
Dr. Lee?
Yes.
Mr. Parr?
Yes.
Mr. Rutherford?
Yes.
Mr. Reed?
Yes. Okay. Next, we have the fiscal year 26 budget, school budget, budget adoption, and budget appropriation. First item on this is the school budget. Open it up to, oh, go ahead, sorry.
Good
Sorry,
afternoon.
Grace.
I wasn't sure where you all wanted to start, if you wanted to go through the school requests as initially presented. I can read those numbers out.
Well, we have the numbers, you know, we've had 3 meetings to cover it. If there's no changes, what's the, I mean, the school budget right now is, as presented at the public hearing, was $33,879,480.
Yes, with a county contribution of $20,604,135.
Mhm.
And that does include the $600,000 for the 4 buses.
Right. If nobody wants to start, I guess I will. The school budget as laid out for, as approved to go to a public hearing, which we all agreed on, you know, was done, 2 months ago. And since that time, there's been lots of questions and issues that have been brought up by numerous board members. We've gotten responses from both the school board and the superintendent on those questions. I think they've been answered as clearly as they could be. In terms of the only other outstanding thing besides that, which we did bring up, was an additional school bus. And I know that you know, we aren't able to dictate how money is being spent. We can have discussion about it, but we of course can't, you know, do any line items for them. But as I've said earlier, we have a county reserve, which is reserved for, I would say emergency things that the board has consensus that really should be and need to and has to be done. And it's my opinion that the autonomy of the school board to determine how revenues are spent is a good idea and should be upheld. And if we do want the schools to have another school bus, it certainly makes sense to me that we just go ahead and buy it for them. A one-time non-recurring amount to cover a school bus, which comes out of reserves, would not affect the budget. Be a one-time thing. It would get us ahead of the curve on the buses, and it would put both the school board and the superintendent and the board of supervisors together on the same page that we were on when we had the public hearing on the budget. So that is my suggestion that we adopt the school budget as presented, and that we allocate sufficient revenue for an additional school bus from our county reserves. That would keep our both our revenue and expenses as at where they were when we that was presented, for public hearing, and there wouldn't be any changes to it. So I'm going to make that motion, and in the event that we could have a second and go forward on it, I'd be pleased.
I was going to suggest some discussion before you make a motion.
I think I just made the motion.
Okay, well, let's see if he gets a second.
Okay. Is there a second on that motion?
Second.
Okay.
All right.
All right. Now we can
Now let's
have
do
some
the
discussion because the motion fails.
We've interacted one-on-one a good bit, discussing some of this. I'll lead into Dr. Ligon and Mr. Parr to kind of start off the conversation and trying to build some kind of a consensus of where we're at. So, either one of you want to go first?
I move that we allocate that we approve Resolution 2025-45 with the following amendment, that the total budget amount be $125,036,744 with an adjustment to the school budget of $85,221, and then the school bus come from the add a fifth school bus for an additional $150,000 out of the school fund for that.
Where I think would be advantageous is if we allow them to administer the bus purchase throughout the year and just see if they have the potential to do that. And that way it allows that, and their only correction is currently the 85, and within that year, as they get the cost savings, they can produce that recurring thing, give them some discretion as to how to produce that, if you're okay with the friendly
I
amendment.
don't have a problem with where it comes, how,
Yeah,
who writes the check.
yeah, okay.
I'm willing to work with that.
Okay. Can we have a motion and then a second, and then we can have further discussion?
So that's the motion
Okay, and you're accepting the second where they administer however they want to do that?
as amended.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll second that.
Okay. Now further discussion. I'm just wondering the rationale for the 85. Can you elaborate on that?
Well, I mean, first of all, we don't dictate how the money is spent, so, but that was a number that we were provided by staff when there were some questions about the school budget. So that was a number we were provided, $85,221.
But those questions were answered, correct?
Yeah. Yeah, so, sorry.
Okay. I'm just curious about, being a subjective number. My experience with the budget and the meetings that I sat in on is that it's a good budget, it's a tight budget, and I didn't see any areas that certainly would warrant, even in the totality, a reduction of that. I am sympathetic to the fifth bus, and I understand that. What I don't understand is the 85 rationale.
We've had 2 weeks of that information in our inbox. So
No one wants to speak to that?
I don't have anything else to say.
This number was done from calculations based on a blanket 3% raise instead of some staff members getting larger percentage raises. And so this is the difference.
Right. You understand the rationale for the differences?
I do.
Yeah, because the school board has had a priority over the last many years to try to equalize the seniority staff amounts. And it would make it extremely difficult for them to be able to continue on that path if they don't have the revenues to do it.
I understand it. I believe that retention of people is from a variety of factors, not just financial. I think a blanket 3% raise is fair. And that's how this number was calculated.
Okay, well, any further discussion on this?
I was gonna call the question.
I will
Yeah, I
call
was
the
gonna say,
question,
I'm
thank
not
you.
gonna do that.
Mr. Chairman, I
yes.
guess before you vote, I just wanted to make a correction to the total budget amount. It would be $125,036,741. I believe Mr. Parr said 744.
I did say 744.
Okay. Just wanted to clarify that.
Thank
You
you.
wanna say
Okay.
that number one more time?
Yeah,
$125,036,741.
okay. So we've had a motion and a second, we've had discussion, we'll take a roll call.
Dr. Lee?
Yes.
Mr. Parr?
Yes.
Mr. Rutherford?
Yes.
Mr. Reed?
No,
All right, so do we have to change the resolutions?
Yeah, staff can amend the resolutions based on what you've adopted here.
Okay.
Oh, the appropriation?
You have to adopt, so did we adopt the budget?
We
Yes,
did.
just
So now we're
adopt the budget.
appropriating.
Now you have to
Now we have to
appropriate
appropriate,
funds, yes, sir.
okay. So we have the budget appropriation R 2025-46
So,
as amended.
yes, and based on what was just done, the school fund revenues and expenditures would be $33,794,259. And then that bottom line total of all funds would be $125,036,741. And we would make those changes, based on your approval.
Okay. So someone like to make that motion?
I move to appropriate those funds according to resolution R 2025-46 as staff has spoken the numbers.
I'll second.
Okay, any further discussion? Okay, roll call.
Mr. Parr?
Yes.
Dr. Lee?
Yes.
Mr. Rutherford?
Yes.
Mr. Reed?
Yes. Okay, do we have any other business to take up at this time?
One thing I did want to mention is we had a Livingston Merchant meeting today, and I've brought this up multiple times about doing entryways for the village of Livingston to bring some character to the entrances, at least in two entrances, the northernmost and the middle. And I will be I'd like to engage with the building officials, VDOT, just to kind of see what could work in those locations. VDOT has some specific requirements that they want, so in the event you crash into it, doesn't kill somebody, which is valid. But I think this would be a good move forward in supporting the commerce in Livingston. And I'm just letting everyone know in the coming months I'll be bringing something to us. Speculating August.
Okay,
Kind of like the signs around Amherst.
Yeah, pretty ones. Yep.
okay. If there's nothing else to take up right now, I would like to adjourn and continue to 5 o'clock for a joint work session with the Planning Commission on zoning ordinances.